How is everybody doing today? My name is Master Zero, and in today's video, we are reacting to Loneliness by In a Nutshell. Alright, so before we get the video started, yes, I finally got a haircut. It is so fresh and relieving not to do this every 2 seconds, but I finally got it, and it is so much better. I love it so much, and like, my hair always covered my face, so what's the point of a reaction channel if you can't see the reactions? So anyway, on to this video. I've had a lot of people want me to do this one. I'm not going to put any names up because I'm pretty sure I'm going to forget somebody, and I really don't want that. So everybody who suggested this video to me, you know who you are. And the only reason why I kept neglecting to do it is I've had depression like all throughout, I guess, my adolescent teenage years, and the number one cause of it is like, oh, I felt like nobody like truly loved me, and like I was alone all the time, and that was literally the number one reason behind my depression, like the one major reason. But I saw this one, and like I wanted to watch it, I really did, but just something in the back of my mind is like, don't watch it, it's gonna trigger some stuff. But I'm gonna give it a shot. Like, I have no idea how this reaction is gonna go, but I am 100% on board to watch this. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be as bad as I think it's gonna be. So without any further ado, here is Loneliness by In a Nutshell.
Everybody feels lonely from time to time.
Yeah.
When we have no one to sit next to at lunch.
Like, it's totally
when
normal.
we move to a new city. Or when nobody has time for us at the weekend.
Aw.
But over the last few decades, this occasional feeling has become chronic for millions. In the UK, 60% of 18 to 34-year-olds say they often feel lonely.
Wow.
In
That's
the
actually
US,
a really big number.
46% of the entire population feel lonely regularly. We are living in the most connected time in human history, and yet an unprecedented
we're
number
not,
of
though.
us feel isolated. Being
Like, everybody's
lonely
looking at their
and
phone
being
instead
alone
of
are not the same
one-on-one.
thing. You can be filled with bliss by yourself and hate every second surrounded by friends. Loneliness is a purely subjective, individual experience. If
Okay.
you feel lonely, you are lonely. A common stereotype is that loneliness only happens to people who don't know how to talk to people or how to behave around others.
See, that's me big time.
But population-based studies have shown that social skills make practically no difference for adults when it comes to social connections.
Huh.
Loneliness can
I
affect
honestly didn't know
everybody.
that.
Money, fame, power, beauty, social skills, a great personality. Nothing can protect you against loneliness because it's part of your biology.
Oh. Oh, this is fancy.
Loneliness is a bodily function, like hunger. Hunger makes you pay attention to your physical needs. Loneliness makes you pay attention to your social needs.
Oh.
Your body cares about your social needs because millions of years ago it was a great indicator of how likely you were to survive. Natural selection rewarded our ancestors for collaboration and for forming connections with each other. Our brains grew and became more and more fine-tuned to recognize what others thought and felt and to form and sustain social bonds. Being social became part of our biology. You were born into groups of 50 to 150 people, which you usually stayed with for the rest of your life.
Dang.
Getting
I think mine's a
enough
little
calories,
smaller, but
staying safe and warm or caring for offspring was practically impossible alone. Being together meant survival. Being alone meant death.
Oh.
So it was crucial that you got along with others.
This is crazy.
For
Like,
your ancestors, the most dangerous threat to survival was not being eaten by a lion, but not getting the social vibe of your group and being excluded. To avoid that, your body came up with social pain.
this is like blowing
Pain
my
of this
mind right
kind
now.
is an evolutionary adaptation to rejection. A sort of early warning system to make sure you stop behavior that would isolate you. Your ancestors who experienced
Rude.
rejection as more painful were more likely to change their behavior when they got rejected and thus stayed in the tribe, while those who did not got kicked out and most likely died.
Okay.
That's why rejections hurt, and even more so, why loneliness is so painful. These mechanisms for keeping us connected worked great for most of our history until humans began building a new world for themselves.
New World Order! The downside of the modern world.
The loneliness epidemic we see today really only started in the late Renaissance. Western culture began to focus on the individual. Intellectuals moved away from the collectivism of the Middle Ages, while the young Protestant theology stressed individual responsibility. This trend accelerated during the Industrial Revolution. People left their villages and fields to enter factories. Communities that had existed for hundreds of years began to dissolve, while cities grew. As our world rapidly became modern,
still live in the country.
This trend sped up more and more. Today, we move vast distances for new jobs, love and education, and leave our social net behind.
That
we
is
meet
true,
fewer
though.
people in person, and we meet them less often than in the past. In the US, the mean number of close friends dropped from 3 in 1985 to 2 in 2011. Most people stumble into chronic loneliness by accident. You reach adulthood and become busy with work, university, romance, kids, and Netflix. There's just not enough time. The most convenient and easy
I need to
thing
binge
sacrifice
everything.
is time with friends.
Why
Then
though?
you wake up
Why
one
would you
day
do that?
and realize that you feel isolated,
Don't take your friends for granted.
that you yearn for close relationships. But it's hard to find close connections as adults. And so loneliness
That's me, the guy
can
on the
become
computer. It's
chronic.
like, can I be your friend?
While humans feel pretty great about things like iPhones and spaceships, our bodies and minds are fundamentally the same they were 50,000 years ago.
This is so
We are
crazy.
still
Like,
biologically fine-tuned
it's
to
a
being with each other.
biological need. How loneliness kills.
Large-scale studies have shown that the stress that comes from chronic loneliness is among the most unhealthy things we can experience as humans.
Really?
It makes you age quicker. It makes cancer deadlier, Alzheimer's advance faster, your immune system's weaker.
Are you serious?
Loneliness is twice as deadly as obesity and as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. The most dangerous thing about
did
it
not know
is
that.
once it becomes chronic, it can become self-sustaining. Physical and social pain use common mechanisms in your brain. Both feel like a threat, and so social pain leads to immediate and defensive behavior when it's inflicted on you. When loneliness becomes chronic, your brain goes into self-preservation mode.
This video
It
is
starts to see
literally blowing
danger
my mind.
and hostility everywhere. But that's not all. Some studies found that when you're lonely, your brain is much more receptive and alert to social signals, while at the same time, it gets worse at interpreting them correctly. You pay more attention to others, but you understand them less. The part of your brain that recognizes
But what if you have, like,
faces
anxiety?
gets out of tune and becomes more likely to categorize neutral faces as hostile, which makes it distrustful of others.
Oh my god.
Loneliness makes you assume the worst about others' intentions towards you. Because of this perceived hostile world, you can become more self-centered to protect yourself, which can make you appear more cold, unfriendly, and socially awkward than you really are.
It's blowing my mind. What can we do about it?
If loneliness has become a strong presence in your life, the first thing you can do is to try to recognize the vicious cycle you may be trapped in. It usually goes something like this. An initial feeling of isolation leads to feelings of tension and sadness, which makes you focus your attention selectively on negative interactions with others. This makes your thoughts about yourself and others more negative, which then changes your behavior. You begin to avoid social interaction, which leads to more feelings of isolation. This cycle becomes more severe and harder to escape each time. Loneliness makes you sit far away from others in class, not answer the phone when friends call, decline invitations until the invitations stop. Each and every one of us has a story about ourselves, and if your story becomes that people exclude you, others pick up on that. And so the outside world can become
I just
the
did
way
it
you
to
feel about
myself.
it. This is often a slow creeping process that takes years and can end in depression and a mental state that prevents connections even if you yearn for them. The first thing you can do to escape it is to
Let
accept
that
that
sun in.
loneliness is a totally normal feeling and nothing to be ashamed of. Literally everybody feels lonely at some point in their life. It's a universal human experience. You can't eliminate or ignore a feeling until it goes away magically, but you can accept that you feel it and get rid of its cause. You can self-examine what you focus your attention on and check if you are selectively concentrating on negative things. Was this interaction with a colleague really negative? Or was it really neutral or even positive? What was the actual content of an interaction? What did the other person say? And did they say something bad, or did you add extra meaning to their words?
Exactly.
Maybe
Oh my
another person
god.
was not really reacting negatively, but just short on time. Then there are your thoughts about the world. Are you assuming the worst about others' intentions? Do you enter a social situation and have already decided how it will go? Do you assume others don't want you around? Are you trying to avoid being hurt and not risking opening up? And if so, can you try to give others the benefit of the doubt? Can you just assume that they're not against you? Can you risk being open and vulnerable again? And lastly, your behavior. Are you avoiding opportunities to be around others? Are you looking for excuses to decline invitations? Or are you pushing others away preemptively to protect yourself? Are you acting as if you're getting attacked? Are you really looking for new connections, or have you become complacent with your situation?
Did I stop talking?
Of course,
I am so
every
sorry.
person's situation
I'm getting
is
like
unique
really
and
into
different,
this.
and just introspection alone might not be enough. If you feel unable to solve your situation by yourself, please try to reach out and get professional help.
See, that's what I
It's not a
did.
sign of weakness, but of courage. However we look at loneliness, as a purely individual problem that needs solving to create more personal happiness, or as a public health crisis, it is something that deserves more attention.
Exactly.
Humans have built a world that's nothing short of amazing, and as we've made is able to satisfy or substitute our fundamental biological need for connection. Most animals get what they need from their physical surroundings. We get what we need from each other. And we need to build our artificial human world based on that.
Man.
Let's try something together. Let's reach out to someone
This
today.
was really,
Regardless
really,
if
really,
you feel
really,
a little
really
bit lonely,
intriguing.
Or if you want to make someone else's day better. Maybe write a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Call a family member who's become estranged. Invite a work buddy for a coffee. Or
All
just go
good
to
things.
something you're usually too
All
afraid
good
to go
things.
to or too lazy to go to, like a D&D event or a sports
Yeah.
club. Everybody's
D&D.
different, so you know what's a good fit for you. Maybe nothing will come of it, and that's okay. Don't do this with any expectations. The goal is just to open up a bit. To
Yeah.
exercise your connection
Like
muscles.
when I started going to
so
like
they can
Comic
grow
Cons and
stronger
stuff, it
over
was
time.
like the greatest
Or
experience
to
of my
help others
life.
exercise them. We want to recommend two of the books we read while researching this video.
Should I-
Emotional First
I'm gonna
Aid
keep
by
playing.
Guy Winch, a book that addresses, among other topics, how to deal with loneliness in a way that we found helpful and actionable.
Okay.
And Loneliness, Human Nature and the Need for Social Connection by John Cacioppo and William Patrick. It's an entertaining and scientific exploration
I'll try to
as
remember
why
these
we
names.
experience loneliness on a biological level.
They seem
how
really
it's spread in
interesting. But
society,
anything like this
and
video,
what science has to say
it's
about
really,
how to escape
really
it.
interesting.
Links for both books in the video description.
All right. But okay. Oh man, that was so impactful. I mean, like, for like, I don't know if it's just because I actually went through this and stuff, but like, I know at one point of the video I just like literally stopped talking because it was such a good video. Like, everything he was addressing, it was just, I was like, yes, like I totally went through that, but it's crazy. Like, I did not expect it to actually be a biological like need. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, our ancestors, like, the reason why we feel so bad that we're lonely is because like back then you would literally die if you weren't lonely, or if you were lonely. But man, that was so good. The only thing I regret is that, or not really regret, but I really wish this video would have been available to me when I was actually going through my dark times. Because this was very, very, like, knowledge fueled. Like, it is so crazy. And I loved everything about it. Just everything, everything in that video was so good. Oh, but yeah, that was just an amazing video. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like down below because it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more awesome videos like this one. So with that said, I have been Master Zero. Y'all guys have been fantastic, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Later days.